Little Yuaner said, "Master, why don't I go down and fight him?" Zhou waved his arm and rejected Little Yuaner's proposal. He said calmly, "Let them in. I'll leave this in Mingshi Yin's hands. I'm tired." Understood. Mingshi Yin, Zhao Yu, and Duan Musheng hurried over to the Great Hall when they heard the news. While the visitors had not arrived yet, Duan Musheng bowed and said, "Master, this Wei Zhiyan thinks too highly of himself. He's looking down on our evil sky pavilion. I requested the permission to head to the divine capital and kill this scoundrel." Mingshi Yin glanced at his third senior brother. Before Zhou could say anything, Hua Wudao, who had arrived slightly later, said, "I commend you for your bravery, Mr. Third, but the divine capital is highly guarded and filled with elites. It's said that Wei Zhuyan's cultivation base is at least 6-leaf. Naturally, Mr. Third's Divine One technique is powerful as well. However, a pair of fists can hardly defeat 4 hands. It's best not to act rashly for now." Zhou nodded while stroking his beard and said, "Elder Hua has a point. Old Third, I heard you've been sparring with Elder Hua lately." Duan Musheng bowed and said, "Yes, I have." "That's good. Elder Hua's 6-compatible Taoist Madra is peerless. If you can break it, your strength would improve by leaps and bounds." Zhou said, "I will work hard." Elder Hua coughed again and said, "It's naturally a good thing to guide the juniors, but I'm getting old and I can't spar too frequently." Duan Musheng cupped his fist toward Elder Hua and said, "In that case, let's reduce the frequency from 3 times a day to twice a day." Elder Hua's old face flushed. Hua Wudao could not find a way to give voice to his sufferings. He had to spar day in and day out with someone who would fight even more valiantly the more times he lost. Zhou spoke with his hands on his back. "It's best to do it once every 3 days. You won't be able to handle it if it's too frequent anyway." "Yes, Master." "Thank you, Pavilion Master." At this moment, 2 red-robed cultivators, escorted by a female cultivator, sauntered into the great hall from outside. Their robes covered their bodies from head to toe. Their steps were steady and stable. Their hands were crossed. A few soldiers carrying a box followed them closely from behind. "Greetings, Pavilion Master. I am Wu Sheng." "Greetings, Pavilion Master. I am Wu Guan." Zhou sat down calmly. He ignored them and seemed to be thinking about another matter. Mingshi Yin would never let an opportunity to showcase himself go to waste. Since his master left the matter in his hands, this meant his master valued him. Wu Sheng and Wu Guan. Mingshi Yin's gaze fell on the duo. "Are you the descendants of the 10 shamans?" Wu Sheng, the one on the left, bowed and said, "We brothers are indeed descendants of the 10 shamans." Mingshi Yin said, "You're the ones who sealed my junior sister's cultivation base, right?" Wu Sheng said, "That's a misunderstanding. The reason we're here is to resolve that misunderstanding." "I'm listening," Mingshi Yin said with a smile as he sat down. Wu Sheng said slowly, "Although we're descendants of the 10 shamans, we're loyal to Great Yan's imperial court. Recently, there have been some minor conflicts and misunderstandings with the Evil Sky Pavilion. My lady has ordered me to visit the Evil Sky Pavilion and apologize to Pavilion Master." "That's all?" Mingshi Yin asked skeptically. "When my lady visited the Clarity Sect a while ago, the Clarity Sect's elites had coincidentally captured Miss Fifth, Zhao Yu. Hence, my lord sealed Miss Fifth's cultivation base. For this transgression, my lady is willing to offer up 5 mystic-grade weapons and 20,000 gold as compensation." As he spoke, 2 of the soldiers behind him opened the box they had been carrying. There were 5 weapons in gold that shone brilliantly. When Mingshi Yin heard this, he smiled and said, "Mystic-grade weapons. I'm impressed. Let's see. What's this?" The separation hook and scabbard hovered above his right palm. It was shrouded in a thin layer of energy that clearly displayed his weapon's grade. Duan Musheng chimed in, "There's also my Overlord spear." He raised his right hand, and the Overlord spear spun in circles. His energy formed lights that traveled from the spear's tip to the end of its shaft. This made the carving of the dragon on the shaft look even more majestic. The 2 disciples' heaven-grade weapons were on full display. Wu Sheng and Wu Guan exchanged a glance. A hint of shock appeared in their eyes before it quickly disappeared. We have a whole new level of respect for the evil sky pavilion. Heaven-grade weapons seem so ordinary here. Wu Xing said flatteringly, "Now that you know this, how can you have the confidence to carry a pile of rejects up our mountain?" "We've been rude," Wu Xing said as he cupped his fists. Mingshi Yin asked, "Who's your lady?" In truth, it was easy to find out about this. After several incidents, they were certain this elite was a favorite person by the second prince's side. "My lady's name is Emoli. She's the most powerful witchcraft cultivator in Great Yan." Wu Yen said. A hint of pride could be clearly heard in his tone. Upon hearing this, little Yuan said provokingly, "The most powerful witchcraft cultivator? You can brag all you want, but I won't believe it." Wu Sheng and Wu Guan glanced at little Yuan. "That's not important. What's important is Lord Pavilion Master's thoughts." Wu Sheng cupped his fist together again. Mingshi Yin shook his head and said, "If she had personally come, there might be a chance. Both of you aren't qualified to speak to my master." Wu Sheng could not help but feel taken aback. An ominous feeling rose in his heart. He hastily explained, "Lady Emoli has many matters to attend to each day. To tell you the truth, Lord Chenju passed away some days ago. Lady Emoli is too saddened by this, and she can't leave the divine capital." Wu Guan chimed in. "Lady Emoli has been searching for the murderer, working herself to the bones night and day. Lady Emoli will surely tear the murderer to pieces when she finds him. When this matter is dealt with, Lady Emoli will surely visit the evil sky pavilion." He paused to take a breath before he continued. "Also, I received information from the palace that someone was impersonating the evil sky pavilion in the Measure Heaven River. Those people are too audacious. Lady Emoli will also deal with the imposters in order to resolve the conflict with the evil sky pavilion." Mingshi Yin and Duan Mu Sheng were slightly stunned by these words. There was the grand witchcraft formation near Measure Heaven River. Chenju, one of the 3 godly archers, was killed by the evil sky pavilion. At that time, the witchcraft formation was fully activated, obscuring everyone's vision. Ding Fanchio's impersonation of the evil sky pavilion had averted the palace's attention. In other words, the palace did not know it was the evil sky pavilion who killed Chenju. At this moment, Lu Zhou, who had remained silent all this while, suddenly said, "I'll bury the hatchet regarding Zhao Yu." Lu Zhou's disciples exchanged a look. They were slightly taken aback. Who knew their master would be so magnanimous? Compared to the past, he was now as different as heaven and earth. "Thank you, Pavilion Master." Wu Sheng and Wu Guan bowed in unison. After Wu Xing straightened his body, he said, "There's another reason for our visit to the evil sky pavilion." "Speak." "The evil sky pavilion is on the fiend path. The 10 great sects are eyeing it like prey. Lady Emoli is sincerely impressed by the evil sky pavilion's strength. Currently, Great Yan's imperial family is in dire need of support. Would the evil sky pavilion consider serving the imperial court and bring joy to the general populace?" Wu Shen asked slowly, "Are you trying to offer amnesty by recruiting us into your ranks?" "This isn't recruitment. Lady Emoli genuinely admires the evil sky pavilion. This is an offer of friendship. Moreover, with this, the evil sky pavilion will be taking a first step on the noble path and will surely be respected by all." Duan Mu Sheng raised his overlord spear and struck the floor. Clang! Anyone else can say those words, but not both of you. How many people do you think have been hurt by witchcraft? I'm sure you know that clearly. And yet, you have the temerity to preach about being on the noble path. Wu Sheng and Wu Guan were rendered speechless. Mingshi Yin chimed in. "If you really want to bring happiness to the people, can you explain the massacre of innocent people in Measure Heaven River?" Wu Xing frowned. The ominous feeling in his heart grew even stronger. He felt everyone's eyes were trained on him and Wu Guan. Finally, he asked, "The evil sky pavilion knows about Measure Heaven River's incident as well?" Mingshi Yin replied, "Chenju was too presumptuous, so my master sent him to the afterlife." Wu Sheng and Wu Guan took a step backward in unison. They looked at Mingshi Yin with expressions of disbelief. Wu Sheng forced himself to calm down before he asked, "The evil sky pavilion killed Lord Chenju? Are you deaf?" Mingshi Yin asked with a smile. Wu Sheng quickly offered his own analysis of the incident and said, "Speaking about this, I'm sure there's a misunderstanding. Lord Chenju was told the people near Measure Heaven River were only impostors. Lord Chenju must have mistaken the pavilion master for the impostor. Although Lord Chenju was a godly archer, he had always been impetuous with his actions. If he had offended Lord Pavilion Master, then he could only blame himself for his death. It's true that you people are shameless and have thick skin. Didn't you just say your lady wants to tear Chenju's murderer into pieces? Look, my master is here. Are you brave enough to make a move?" Mingshi Yin said mockingly. However, he froze for a moment, realizing he had said something wrong. He lowered his head and slapped his face as he said, "That was a slip of tongue. Please forgive me, master." Zhou was not bothered by this. His expression appeared calm. Wu Sheng said awkwardly, "It's all a misunderstanding. I didn't know that Lord Chenju died in the pavilion master's hands. I hope the magnanimous pavilion master won't hold this against me." "You're wrong." Mingshi Yin shook his head. A mere Chenju could never satisfy the evil sky pavilion. Mingshi Yin waved his arm. Two female cultivators beside him bowed slightly. Shortly after, the two female cultivators carried an unconscious Yi Tianxin over on a wooden chair. Everyone's eyes were on Yi Tianxin. Wu Sheng was confused. This is my master's sixth disciple, Yi Tianxin. She's from Measure Heaven River's Fish Dragon River. Zhou Yu said. Wu Sheng frowned slightly. He suddenly realized why the evil sky pavilion had such an attitude. "I see." Wu Sheng's confidence was dwindling as he cupped his hands together and said, "To tell you the truth, General Wei Zhuyan of Chongning is the one who annihilated the Fish Dragon village. It has nothing to do with Lady Mo Li." Duan Mu Sheng sneered. "So we should just take your word for it." Wu Sheng and Wu Guan's expressions changed slightly. They fell to one knee at the same time and said, "We have no knowledge of this. If Our Lady is really involved in this, we're willing to atone for it. Please forgive us, Pavilion Master." Mingshi Yin said, "What's the relationship between your lady and Wei Zhuyan?" He could tell from Wu Sheng and Wu Guan's tone that Wei Zhuyan and Mo Li did not seem to be on friendly terms. Wu Sheng stammered and did not dare to say anything. "You said the incident at Measure Heaven River has nothing to do with your lady, and yet there was a grand witchcraft formation at the jetty where they fished for the corpses. An elite Chenju was also guarding that place. Do you think I'm stupid?" Thud. Wu Sheng and Wu Guan fell to their knees without any hesitation. Their foreheads broke out in sweat and said, "Lady Amoli was only acting on orders. The activity at the jetty has been going on before the formation was laid. The Fish Dragon Village incident truly has nothing to do with my lady. If there's half a lie in my words, I'll die a gruesome death." No matter what they said, Mingshi Yin and Duan Mu Sheng were determined not to believe them. The atmosphere tensed. Just when the two of them were about to get up, Pan Zhong, who had remained silent from the beginning, said, "Why does the mistress of the 10 shamans' descendants have a name Mo Li?" Wu Sheng and Wu Guan were slightly stunned. They turned to look at Pan Zhong. If this had been under any other circumstances, it would have been a great offense for Pan Zhong to mention Mo Li's name directly. However, this was the evil sky pavilion. No matter how scathing their words were, they could only endure them. Anyone can cultivate witchcraft. Lady Mo Li's cultivation base is profound, and we're willing to follow her. Pan Zhong said again, "Since ancient times, the 10 shamans were experts respected and feared by all. They were skilled in medical skills and divination. They had also reached great heights with white witchcraft. Since you're descendants of the 10 shamans, why would you lower yourself and become the lackeys of these people?" Lackeys? Wu Sheng and Wu Guan had sour expressions on their faces. They studied Pan Zhong for a moment. They did their research before coming to the Evil Sky Pavilion. They did not recall there being such a person in the Evil Sky Pavilion. "Dear sir, you are?" Pan Zhong spoke frankly. A man of character is proud of himself and stands by his actions. I was from the Clarity sect, but am now a member of the Evil Sky Pavilion. The Evil Sky Pavilion's problem is my problem. Wu Sheng cupped his fist and said, "Nice to meet you, Brother Pan. Being a descendant of the 10 shamans isn't something to be bragged about. So long as we're serving the imperial court, we'll be able to bring happiness to the common folks." "Well said," Pan Zhong said as he clapped his hands. "I spoke to Mr. Forth about it. It seems the Grand Witchcraft Formation isn't the only thing near Measure Heaven River. For 100 miles along the river, there were witchcraft traps as well. Even an expert such as Mr. Forth fell prey to it, let alone the common folks. When I was still with the Clarity sect, I frequently heard reports about civilians dying gruesome deaths near the river. How do you explain that?" Wu Sheng's expression changed slightly. He was speechless from Pan Zhong's rebuttal. At this moment, Zhou just silently watched as though this had nothing to do with him. Wu Sheng spoke respectfully. "Cultivators frequently got near Measure Heaven River and harassed the local people. With the Grand Witchcraft Formation in place, such incidents have decreased considerably. There are always two sides to every story. Your words are slightly unfair, Brother Pan. Even so, inside the Grand Witchcraft Formation, the salvage bodies were piled up in a warehouse. A dead person should be treated with the utmost respect. And yet, look at how you disrespected them. Aren't you worried that you'd be struck dead by lightning when you go out?" Wu Sheng and Wu Guan took a step back. Pan Zhong's words had shocked them. "After this, we'll surely employ the services of a Buddhist grandmaster to conduct a ceremony for the deceased. We'll pray that they find peace and happiness in the afterlife," Wu Sheng said weakly. His words held no conviction. In fact, he seemed uncomfortable. Pan Zhong laughed and said, "A witchcraft cultivator wants to employ a Buddhist grandmaster to chant sutras. If the 10 shamans hear this, I think they would be so infuriated that they would come back to life." "You hit a person, but not his face." Pan Zhong might have gone slightly overboard. Wu Sheng and Wu Guan regarded the 10 shamans with reverence. How could they endure the people they revered being insulted? Wu Guan had taken half a step forward, but he was forcibly restrained by Wu Sheng. Wu Sheng said, "Brother Pan, we're here to genuinely seek peace. We have no intention of making another enemy. If we have offended the Evil Sky Pavilion in any way, we're willing to atone for it." He was smart. He bowed at Zhou directly. Making peace or discussing the truth aside, the brothers and their Lady Emoli did not expect that the Evil Sky Pavilion was the one who killed Zhou. Zhou was M.O. Lee's trusted general. Could Emoli accept this? The great hall was silent. Creak. There was a creaking sound from where Yi Tianxin was. Wu Sheng and Wu Guan looked at Yi Tianxin. A hint of shock appeared in their eyes. Mingshi Yin turned to look at his master, who was deep in thought, and said, "Bring her back." Understood. Yi Tianxin was still unconscious. It was meaningless for her to remain here. The female cultivators brought Yi Tianxin away. Zhou stood up slowly and descended the stairs. "It's not impossible to make peace. We are endlessly grateful for your magnanimity, Pavilion Master." Wu Sheng bowed respectfully. "I'm curious, can the bones of the Bai people extend the limit of one's life?" Zhou suddenly asked. Wu Sheng was caught off guard by this sudden inquiry. He stammered and struggled with himself before saying, "For now, it's not possible. Why are the bodies still being fished out of the river, then?" "This is a palace secret. Pavilion Master. My master is giving you a way out, and you're not taking it. Forget about your secrets. Just spill it." Little Yuan waved her fist. Zhou said indifferently, "You can choose to keep it to yourselves. You can even leave the Evil Sky Pavilion safely. I've never forced another person to do something against their will." When he heard this, Wu Sheng shook his head. He cupped his fists and said, "Although this is a secret, there have been no breakthroughs after 10 years. Forget it. It's rumored that the bones of the Bai people can be used to attain longevity. That's not true, and the palace has wasted 10 years before they discovered this. It's the Bai people's Cheng Huang that can extend one's life limit." "The Bai people's Cheng Huang?" Cheng Huang has the appearance of a fox with horns on its back. Anyone who rides will live for 2,000 years, Wu Xing said. Everyone was suitably shocked when they heard this. Mingshi Yin said with a frown, "It's the name of a beast?" "That's right." Wu Xing sighed and said, "At the Battle of Measure Heaven River many years ago, Wei Zhuyan and the Black Knights Fan Shuan wiped out the other tribes near the river. Their true objective was to search for the bones of the Bai people. Then, their target changed to Cheng Huang. Not even Wei Zhuyan and Fan Shuan themselves know about this. The palace suspects that Cheng Huang had sunk to the bottom of the river along with the bones of the Bai people in that battle. So, the palace is really fishing for Cheng Huang, and it hasn't been found after all these years." Pan Zhong interrupted. Wu Xing shook his head and said, "If it had been found, we wouldn't have this misunderstanding today." When he finished speaking, he glanced at Lu Zhou, who looked indifferent. He bowed and said, "I've told you what I know truthfully. Pavilion Master, does your offer remain?" Lu Zhou stroked his beard and said, "I've always stayed true to my words." "Thank you, Lord Pavilion Master." The two of them hastily bowed. "See our guests off." "Understood." Since Lu Zhou was the one who said this, the others naturally did not oppose it. They looked on as Wu Sheng and Wu Guan left the Evil Sky Pavilion. Shortly after, Wu Sheng and Wu Guan exited Golden Court Mountain's barrier. When they stepped out of its bounds, they sighed in relief. "Brother, the Evil Sky Pavilion killed Qinju. What should we do? How should we tell Lady Mo about this?" Wu Guan asked worriedly. "I know what to do. If we don't pay a great price, we wouldn't be able to make the Evil Sky Pavilion lower their guard. The secret of Cheng Huang must have been impactful. Everyone knows that Ji Qiandao's time's almost up. Now that he learns about this, what do you think he'll do?" Wu Sheng said, "That's brilliant, big brother." Wu Guan was hit with a sudden realization. "I'll explain this to Lady Mo. What about Pan Zhong? I didn't expect that brigand to side with the Evil Sky Pavilion. He has spoken rudely and insulted the 10 shamans. That's abominable. Pan Zhong is from the Clarity sect. He only learned the 3 Yin styles. When he was kicked out of the Taoist societies, he was afflicted by a bitter cold. He went around looking for a cure. White witchcraft could treat the bitter cold, but he was denied treatment. He bore a grudge against witchcraft ever since. However, I didn't expect him to join the Evil Sky Pavilion." Wu Xing said, "I don't think I'll ever be at peace if I don't kill this man. Let's report this first. Pan Zhong will die in due time." Wu Xing glanced at the Evil Sky Pavilion again. He gave an order, and the dozens of red-robe cultivators proceeded toward Tongzi town. The 3,000 mounted soldiers felt like they were headless flies as they followed the cultivators around. Although they were well-trained soldiers, they were still third-rate fighters compared to these cultivators. Wu Xing knew that Wei Zhuyan was merely humoring them. Therefore, he did not care if these men had real combat skills. Halfway through their journey, the cultivators, led by Wu Sheng and Wu Guan, flew toward the flatlands. "Wait here." The 3,000 mounted soldiers had to stop and wait. The military officer eyed them suspiciously. "What are they doing?" "Who knows? They're a mysterious bunch. As long as we don't have to go to the Evil Sky Pavilion, I'll do anything." "Yeah, you can bravely enter the Evil Sky Pavilion, but you won't be able to leave with your life intact." While they were talking, the 30 red-robed cultivators vanished. At this moment, they were gathered at a spacious spot. They moved about on crooked paths. This went on for about 2 hours before Wu Sheng raised his hand and said, "Assemble! Big brother! The communication formation is completed. MHM, let's begin." "Understood." At this moment, a faint purplish circle appeared under Wu Sheng's feet. The other red-robed cultivators surrounded Wu Sheng. Bizizity, a witchcraft formation appeared under the support of the 30 cultivators. The formation seemed to have been activated instantly. Wu Sheng looked at the witchcraft circle. It quickly flew into the air and formed a dome over everyone present on the scene. Wu Sheng fell to one knee. "Lady Mo,